Resonance podcast with Sally.
Good afternoon, soul family. Welcome home to the sacred space. This is the Roar and Resonance podcast, and my name is Sally. I feel our cosmic connection. Akandara is my cosmic name. And prior to entering this space, I have opened the space and invited in our guides to support us in our highest timeline creation, our alignment to our true north. And if you are returning to this space, I wrap you in the biggest blanket of hugs. If you can see me right now, I am cheesing. And if you are new to this channel, welcome. You have arrived in perfect timing. And within this space, we are loved, protected, and guided by a council of support. The council of support for this particular space, my own guides and support, your guides and support, angels, elementals, animals, gods and goddesses, all of everything. All of them are here to support our unfolding, our great unfolding as we remember the I am, as we transform and transmute to our highest versions of our highest timeline, from victimhood to sovereign leaders, from unconscious living to intentional co-creation of art with the divine, to witnessing our unfolding as we remember the I am, remember the divinity that lies within our heart, to make magic, co-create our own personal heaven on earth, and take part in the collective birthing of new earth. And we are so precious. We're walking miracles, for goodness sake. And we're walking miracles in the human flesh. All our experiences, the shadows, all serves its purpose to our journey to the light, to the truth, to the divine, our homecoming. And this space witnesses the fullness of emotions, energy and motions, emotions, our being, good, bad, dark, light, the void, this and that, both can reside here, the all of everything that you are. And if you resonate thus far and feel called to do so, subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you don't want to, that's okay too. And these are timeless readings, meaning they are activated with light language or language of the soul, Reiki, and each of them are activated in their own way. They carry very powerful frequency, very strong intentions behind them. And you are arriving in this space when you feel like you need that extra support. And when you call for it, it will reveal itself. And you have arrived in perfect timing, and you are perfect as you are, where you are. And when I refer to the today or the yesterday, upcoming or past new moon or full moon, it is in reference to you and when you arrived in this space. This space is rooted into the grid with Mother Gaia and reaches to the heights of multiple timelines, dimensions, and periods of existence. It is a powerful container, and continue to strengthen it, fortify it, and it's a living container, so it continuously evolve to its also greatest timeline and timeline of creation. So I truly, wholeheartedly welcome you to this journey. This is a huge journey. This is not a I was gonna laugh. It's definitely not a walk in the park, if you will. The path to remembering the I am, remembering who we truly are. Wow. And at this time, we invite in the wisdom of the Hermit. The Hermit is in reverse. And if you've listened to my other episodes, I like to read tarot cards in both the upright and reverse position. I read them as a way to support our unfolding, as a way for us to become our own creator, or being a creator of our own reality. really take an accountability for our life and our existence. And when I read, I like to read both the upright and reverse positions because I feel like it truly, to me, it feels like a reflection of the beautiful human messy experience. And it shows how multifaceted, multidimensional we are. So that's why I read both. And for this week, we've had a lot, I feel, major arcana cards come up. I think, no, last week a lot of major arcana cards came up. Essentially, with this number 9, the Hermit card, it being a major arcana card, it means that, this today, the energy of today, all the things that are happening in one way or another, serves a very pivotal, critical moment in your unfolding. And the overall energy that I felt for today is that I can feel this thread connecting our experiences with the divine, and I feel the flow to speak and dance as one with the divine, like a moving art. And I hear, how can we make our life a moving art? How can we offer our life as an ode, a poem, a piece of work to the divine? And it's interesting because yesterday we had very strong sacred masculine energy where messages were coming through more theoretically, more mentally, more structurally to show that we are supported in a very physical and tangible way. Today feels more like the sacred feminine energy. Today feels very nurturing, very like this deep embodiment of the wisdom that we've gained yesterday. So I feel like there's some relationship between the two. And that wisdom that we gained yesterday is supporting this deepening, this embodiment, this living and breathing and moving of that wisdom. True embodiment, right? Living in complete authenticity. That's what it means to turn knowledge, something that is theoretical, into wisdom. Wisdom, to me, it means experiential. So when I think of that and I think of today feels like this unleashing of our primordial energy, this raw awakening of our beauty, body, pleasure, and desires is this beautiful interpretive dance of how does life move you? How are you moved by life? This exchange of the passive and the active, the unseen and the seen, the feminine and the masculine, and like this whole word charade comes to mind, but it's like with charade is like this exchange, right? So it feels like this back and forth energy, like a ping pong. Oh goodness, there's a lot of game references now. And I love the Hermit card because when the Hermit comes, I always feel guided to sit in meditative stillness, sitting in very sitting quietly, control, focus on your breathing, be very still, let's count our breath kind of thing. It's very structural, very, again, like sacred masculine energy. And it calls for that introspection, right? Via stillness, via solitude, via quiet consideration. And in some ways, it's like the slowdown. Like, in order for you to have clarity, you must slow down. And there is very much truth to that. And in some ways, too, there's this level of uncertainty that happens because the light in that lantern that the Hermit holds can only shine so far, that in itself, and that I feel like in itself can be pretty unsettling to not know the steps before you, and all you can rely on is yourself, right? All that you can rely on is your inner compass, your inner knowing, your channel. And I feel like that's both very powerful, very empowering, but also can be unsettling because, we're human beings. We enjoy connections with other humans. We enjoy our connections with community. And we like that feedback loop, right? The validation that comes when we want, when we're uncertain about something. Well, when the Hermit comes around, I feel like it's like this call inward, right? This introspection for us to rely on ourselves, rely on our own knowing, our own inner compass. And in some ways, if you feel, I wouldn't say like if you feel resistance to that, if you feel like it's bringing up certain emotions, like, oh, I think sitting with the uncomfortable emotions of grief and sorrow, of recognizing like, oh, I am my own safe space. I am my own savior. I am my own being. I think there's a grief that comes up with that, because you're like, oh, I gotta do this myself. And what I can offer at the same time, though, it's like, wow, I have all the tools that I need, that I am so capable. I can be this. I can do this. I can be my safe space. I can trust myself. I can trust my knowing. And it's balancing out these two energies, like recognizing and acknowledging that there's the grief that comes with that realization, but also recognizing the power that comes with it. And you can make the choice of leaning into either. And I feel that as we lean towards one or the other, right, that it provides more, in some sense, being that we are in this particular space. I'll speak to it being in this particular space. We're talking about people who are leaning towards like, yes, I am now learning how to trust myself. I am trusting my intuition now. I am trusting how my body responds to certain situation, people, places, things. And I can trust myself, and I am owning my space. I am owning the power that I have to be very discerning about situations. And I think that is a very beautiful and empowering thing. And at the same time, we can acknowledge the other side too, the this and that, right? That there is grief and sorrow that comes up along the way, and it'll continually teeter and totter, comes up, until you get to a point where you are firm in a particular truth, one way or the other. And at this time too, like, I want to shine a light on the shadows, if you will, but I want to take a moment to appreciate, to share a bit of gratitude and appreciation to the value of what it means to be in the shadow. What it means to find courage to dive into shadow work, to dive into, to be willing to sit with your uncomfortable feelings, to be willing to sit in stillness, sit with yourself in these practices. Because just as a snake is in an egg, or just as a butterfly is in a cocoon, and just as we're a seed surrounded by earth, the shadow serves as a way for us to kind of removes all the other noise and allow us to really look within ourselves to find the answer. And oftentimes we do end up finding an answer that we already knew. It challenges us to trust our own inner knowing, trust our inner compass, trust our intuition. And it also offers an opportunity can we allow ourselves to receive support from the divine? Can we allow ourselves to attune to the divine? Can we allow ourselves to surrender and trust the unknown, to be uncomfortable with the unknown, to feel into and say, I don't know, and put your hands up and be like, and I'm okay with that. It offers us that space to do so. And we can, and as we embrace the this and that, that's one truth. And the other truth is that it can sometimes be unsettling, right? And what I love about when we sit in the shadows too, is like sometimes it feels like a weighted blanket. That's how it feels for me. And it's taken a lot of time for me to really be present within this body, be present with being in the dark, being present with the uncomfortable feelings. And there's this great growth that happens. So which leads me into talking about how, like, when the Hermit is in the reverse position, it's almost like an excess of, like, one part that I guess the traditional, the way that the book describes it, right, interpretation of the Hermit is that too much of being in the dark, too much of being in your shell, too much of being in your comfort zone, stagnation occurs. There's a way growth doesn't happen, and you're just resistance, when we face resistance or opposition is an opportunity for us to, that pressure, it's an opportunity for us to expand. However, when we are so much relying completely just staying within the dark, what will happen when we choose to ruminate within the dark is that it can get pretty lonely. And it becomes a very unproductive loop of thoughts, feelings, behavior kind of coming back in full circle. So like balance is where the key is at, right? It's recognizing when we have these patterns and willing to say no more. When I personally, like when I sit and I feel into right now, even the Hermit, what was coming to mind was actually this, I wouldn't say like, it's interesting because it feels like a snake not wanting to come out of its shell, even though it knows that it has outgrown its shell. It feels like I'm wearing like a very small, a small sweater, and like the space is too small, and I feel very compressed, and it just like this uncomfortable feeling of ugh. Like, oh, I can't take this anymore. Like there's this like, oh, this is not working for me. So there's like, what comes to mind is like there's certain spaces, certain container in certain places, like the fish that outgrown its pond. I feel like we're really much outgrowing the space that we're presently in. And what I see is like this disrobing of the shell, like this like, okay, I need to just like cut off the sweater on me, or I just need to like get out of the shell, get out of this space. And what I see is, oh, it's so funny. It's like the Hermit, but like the Hermit disrobing and the robe just falls, like a death, a shedding of a layer of skin as we embody the truth that this space no longer can hold my power, can hold my growth. So this disrobing happens, revealing like the rawness of flesh, the rawness of being, this increased sense of sensitivity that occurs, this pleasurable experience with life. Like, this feels great now. Like I can just go swimming. I can just enjoy the process. Like I'm just free. It's like being able to just laze around completely, like with nobody else there to judge or see or anything like that. You're just like, you know what? I'm just gonna take off the sweater. I'm just gonna enjoy my presence and just be. So it's like it's a very beautiful process, like beautiful image that I'm seeing right now. And with the Hermit being the number 9, right? 9 is all about transformation, death and transformation. And if you really watch closely, like if you feel into the energy of the number 9, because right after is 10, right? There's a 1, the individual, and the 0, the unity. And if you look at it, you can observe how the 9, if you observe that little loop on the 9 and how it starts to unfurl until it gets to a 0, the state of completion. Well, that unfurling it's the birthing process, right? It's our incubation period. It's our time in the dark, if you will. And it takes time for it to unfurl. Sometimes it'll unfurl quickly. Sometimes with the right condition, it'll unfurl quickly. In a not most optimal condition, it'll take time. But eventually, it's inevitably going to unfurl into like that 0, the state of completion, a cycle completed. And there's this unfurling that's happening in the disrobing of a space, of a container, of a physical, it could even be a person, if you will, a person, a job, a thing. But essentially, there's this immense feeling of you're like, you know what, like this place doesn't feel like I can grow anymore. Like I just can't. Like it feels too small for me. Like I need more space. I need to hold more space. I need to like stretch my arms out. And it could even be our very own like old skin that we were conditioned to wear. Like you had to look a certain way, you had to be a certain way, you had to do a certain thing, and you had to fulfill all of these requirements. And you're just like, I don't know, my consciousness can't hold it anymore. My spiritual knowing, my intuition, like I can't hold the skin anymore. Like it just doesn't work for me. So then this shedding happens. This shedding experience, this birthing experience, the rising is not easy. It's freaking uncomfortable. And like for a phoenix to rise out, to rise up, it has to die. It has to turn into a pile of ash. And for a seed to turn into this flower that we see, it has to burst out of its hard shell, make its way through the dirt, and poof, then burst the soil. That's like the coming of spring, right? That's why it's spring. It's so much pollen, so much allergy too. But like this bursting of energy, this explosion of beauty, love, and creativity that comes through that once it's out of its shell. For a child to be born, it also has to make its way through the birthing channel, a channel that is physically removing a certain casing. So, sorry guys if these imageries are too much. That's what I'm seeing. And it goes again like with this being very poetic, very moving. Like it leans into the energy of today. Is like, how can we invite more of this movement? How can we create the right condition so that we can shed away these uncomfortable layers of ourselves? And these are the examples that came up, right? How within the right condition, you feel safe, at peace, you have all your basic needs, if you will, and you feel then you go through this whole shedding experience. You are essentially, even through this own process of remembering, you are birthing yourself. You are rising through shedding layers of these conditionings. You yourself are birthing you. That's pretty powerful. That's pretty amazing. And you are rebuilding. And like, so as you continue to grow and rise and rise and rise again, you'll also need to sometimes fall, go through these periods of contractions to build and rebuild the foundation of you. Like building as you reshape and mod and do things in different ways, as you experiment in different ways, you are rebuilding and building and reshaping you. And another thing that's coming to mind right now, feeling like really euphoric just now, is that if you want to hold a waterfall of information, of downloads, of spiritual abilities, of gifts that you want to further explore, or just the whole essence of you, your container can't be a cup. Imagine putting a waterfall under a cup and trying to fill that entire cup with the immense width and depth of a waterfall. Well, the cup is going to fill up quickly, or it might even crack under pressure. So in order for you to hold that container of you, to hold the width and the depth of you, and the depth of what you want to manifest, your desires and your gifts and your abilities, it has to be an ocean. Yeah, you have to be an immense, deep ocean of energies, recognizing that you are the ocean, that you are like that lake that can hold that truth, or anything that you have the depth and the width to hold all of that. So the same, I feel, goes with our desires. Your desire will continue to egg you on, and your heart will want something, and that something is going to grow bigger and bigger until you acknowledge it. And then you can choose what you want to do with it. You can act upon it or consider a different desire. For today, I feel into the space, and I think there is a desire that you've been praying upon, intending upon, manifesting. And now you're in the process of shedding something that doesn't support that wish, desire, intention, right? You're trying to create the right condition. Well, maybe the container that you're in, maybe certain old ways of thinking doesn't support that wish, desire, intention. And I think I've used many times using this example, especially there's a huge abundance of energy around prosperity. And it's almost like our relationship with money, with finance, with wealth. And when we think of our relationship with money, are we looking at like, oh, this is so hard to achieve? Like I have to save every single penny. I have to do this or do that. Like it's just like this very constrictive type of relationship with money. Or is it like money comes to me easily? It flows through me, it comes to me, the divine is there to support me in this. I feel very open, I feel very allowing, I feel very surrendered, and I have this beautiful relationship with money and wealth, and I know that it's coming to me, it's coming through me, and that every act that I do, every discerning, intentional, right action that I do supports that welcoming home, that wealth, that money, that influx of money. See the difference between one is very constrictive, very, or another one is more expansive. Well, because you want to invite in probably millions and millions of dollars, if you will, or just a wealth of anything that you need to learn how to. One of the things that we're learning how to do is to open ourselves, to allow ourselves to create this certain expansiveness, this reprogramming our own container to hold that. Whew. Definitely the energy of today is like a very fluent movement. It's a very beautiful thing too. I think today energy wise is very like Venusian energy. I think Friday is like Venusian, and about relationships. So like our relationship with the body, with our desires, with sensuality, with our with what how can life court you, right? How can you allow yourself to surrender? How can you let life turn you on? And what's your relationship with your dreams? And there's this like beautiful poetic love and beauty around it, just as I'm channeling this to you. And what I hear right now is sorry guys, how can you allow yourself to completely disrobe like these old ways of being, these presumptions, these assumptions, these old wirings, your old skin? How can you embrace the rawness of vulnerability, the rawness of simply being as your godly goddess self? And how can you invite a playful dance and look at this process as, hey, I can now evolve. I've met all the stats and fulfilled the requirements for an evolution. Do you accept? Yes or no? Video game. And you're the hero of that game. Oh, I love that. And with God, the divine, the one in my heart, I have nothing to fear. With God, the divine, the one in my heart, I have all the love in the world to be whatever or whoever I wish to be. With God, the divine, the one in my heart, I am peace, I am safe, I am joy. I am a walking miracle. I am the divine in human flesh. With God, the divine, the one in my heart, in your heart, you have nothing to fear. With God, the divine, the one in your heart, you have all the love in the world to be whatever or whoever you wish to be. With God, the divine, the one in your heart, you are peace. You are safe. You are joy. You are a walking miracle, and you are the divine in human flesh. And we are complete. Wow. So how is this energy showing up for you, my love? I am very curious to know how you're coming into the space today, what showed up in your field, and I would invite us to dive deeper into our observations. Be curious, have fun. And I love you so much. Like, thank you for continuously choosing you, choosing this path of remembrance, choosing you, choosing truth. And let's take a moment right now to thank our guides for being here for our highest good, our highest timeline creation, our alignment to true north. And thank you to you for choosing to show up for you. Thank you to me for showing up and choosing me. Thank you to us as we are all the divine, a reflection of the divine, unique, beautiful, and so damn powerful. Thank you, my love. I hope that this message resonates with you, and if you feel called to do so, like, comment, and subscribe, share. I know it helps extend the energetic reaches of our space to our soul family. And together we come together to fulfill our own unique life's mission. I love you lots. Take care of yourself. And until next time, my all, the light in me sees the light in you. Bye, guys.